It's Sunday night and you're about to watch Tarot Nice to Meet You, the show featuring live tarot reading for comedians by, other comedians. Here are your hosts, Carly Smallman and Sarah Isles.
Hey! Welcome on, everyone. Welcome to Tarot. Nice to meet you. Tarot, for watching. And Tarot, my lovely friend Sarah.
Tarot to you too? It's never going to get old.
It's never going to get good either. Welcome to the show. My name is Carly. This is Sarah. And we have got a brilliant show lined up for you. If you haven't watched us before, thank you so much for joining us. This is the show where comedians read the tarot of other comedians. Yes, we discuss all things lovely and witchy. In case you can't tell, Sarah and I are actually in the same room. But we've decided to not be as cozy as we were last week, because we were really snuggling up, weren't we?
Well, you were literally on my lap, which I'm not complaining about. She's been trying to sit on my lap for years.
I have my arm around her like a really possessive and dreadful husband.
Like, don't say anything
funny.
And I didn't, so it was fine.
Exactly. No, you were good. Have you had a good week, Sarah?
Yeah, it's been all right. Better. I haven't drunk all week, which has been
very strange. I'm actually quite concerned about her.
Yeah, I just thought, I didn't feel well. I was quite kind of ill for a couple of days, so I think that's probably why. Not COVID, just migraines. Really.
It's a very glamorous show here. We'll talk about our ailments.
And how was your week?
It's very good. I actually
did you drink?
Did I drink?
Mm-hmm.
I actually went out with our guest this week, and did we drink? We were absolutely obliterated.
Someone's got to make up for the.
Well, we were just doing it, weren't we? We just were doing it for comedy research.
Bullshit.
So, and also welcome everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is a fully interactive show, so we want to hear from you.
Yes.
You can type in the comments box, and we'll read stuff out, because we want friends.
We need friends because we're comedians, so we don't have any. Hence why we learn to be funny.
Exactly. Sarah's my only friend, so if we could sort that out.
And I want to get rid of this one.
That's not true, actually, because I have another friend who's joining us right now. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest. She's an award-winning comedian. She's an actress. She's a writer. And above all that, she loves witchy shit. She loves all things witchy. She also teaches yoga.
Really?
She does teach yoga, and she does some amazing classes with crystals and all kinds of amazing stuff. She does voiceover, and as I learned on the day that we were getting incredibly twatted, she can teach anyone to do any accent. It's Wendy Wason. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Wendy. Nice to meet you.
I love the sound of me. I sound amazing. I don't recognise me at all.
Wendy, it's true. It's true. Okay. You're all of those things. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good today. Nice chilled Sunday. Went to the movies with the little one to see Trolls, the world tour.
That sounds dreadful.
I was going to say,
amazing. It's amazing. Good? Can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
Genuine pleasure, my darling. So we like to start off with a little round called brief encounters. It's like close encounters, but we do keep it brief. We keep it with brevity is the soul of wit, so they say.
Oh God, I don't know how good I'll be with that.
I'm good with neither of those things. Basically, we love all things witchy on this show.
Okay.
We love all kind of sort of strange and wonderful things. So for brief encounters, we always like to ask our guests, Wendy, have you ever experienced anything kind of magical or spooky or psychic that you just couldn't explain at the time?
I've got loads of these things. Yeah, I've got loads of them. Like, I'd like to do sort of new moon ceremonies in the back garden and you've been at one of them, Carly, and when something happens every so often you'll pull a sort of card and go, what does that mean? And the wind blows like we're all in some kind of weird witchy movie. Another thing that happened, so I quite like to sage the house quite a lot. I have woken up the kids at 1 o'clock in the morning by white saging the house, because sometimes the smoke alarms go off. So make sure you open the windows.
I think we need to sort that out. Like,
they
smoke
do
alarms
in
need to have like an I bought a sage spray. so that I can actually just spray all the corners to get rid of all the demons. But it's not the same as actually lighting some sage and just really
and just wafting it and starting at your back door and wafting it throughout the house and out the windows.
It looks weak when she does it. Well, in my house, it's like I look like some kind of hoodoo lady, and it's like.
Oh really? It's not the same kind of drama. You want some drama when you're saging. And my husband puts up with it. I mean, he's very he tolerates it. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm white saging the house because I think there's like bad energy and yada yada yada." So the next day, the front door, there's a door there. There's a door right over there that has got a glass pane in it, and it slammed shut, and all the glass fell out of it. It's reinforced glass, and he was like, "That's bad energy leaving the house, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah, that's what that is." But it was so weird. He was like, so now he's totally on board with it. He's like, okay.
So is Stephen saging? Is he actually saging, or is
he's not saging? But he gets it, and he doesn't think it's as bonkers as it used to be. But when things like that happen, there's a few things that sort of, and people walk in and go, yeah. But then they get on board when they realise how happy it makes me.
Awesome it is.
They realise that we're just casting spells and making all their dreams come true. Come on.
All next them. Oh,
He will come in and go, "Have you been saging?" "Yes, I've been saging."
You always have a sort of serene vibe after you've been saging, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I do.
Do you sage yourself? Do you?
Yeah.
Because I used to do all the corners and then just have a good old waft all over. Whereas now I can't really spray. It's like I'm spraying myself.
Especially if you've had a one night stand and you want to get his growth. Just sage down there. Sage.
Haven't had one of those for a long time.
I know.
We take it. We do a vaginal exorcism.
Well, who is it that steams their vagina? It's
Gwyneth Paltrow.
It is Gwyneth Paltrow. So if you can steam your vagina, you can probably sage your vagina. And this
probably can.
A real turn, which we probably weren't expecting. But it is another brief encounter.
It certainly is.
Everyone, we want to hear your brief encounters too. So if you've had any spooky things happen to you, please put them in the comments box so that we can discuss them with you. Yes. So Wendy, let's talk tarot. First of all, I know you love a tarot read. So you have you ever had your tarot read before? But I know Wendy has because I've read hers and she's read mine. Having a loving. Wow. Have you ever had a professional tarot reading, Wendy?
I have had a one, but I'm quite bad for because I always say whenever I'm doing tarot, I'm like, and dates don't matter and all this kind of stuff, and we'll just figure out these are sort of it's a guideline. And also, if you're not into it, I've done Nick Doody's tarot for him, and he's a real scientist, and he was like, this is absolute bullshit. And I was like, it doesn't matter. It's a talking point for something you should be looking at. So whether you believe in it or not, it's something it's a starting point to discuss things. Yeah. But when I got mine done professionally, she said, she's like, so what do you do? And I said, I'm a comic. Oh, you talk a lot, and I can see you're going to be a household name. And I was like, when? I need a fucking date. When? So I haven't been back since because it brought out something really nasty in me.
I think you're cray. I love it though. Wouldn't it be nice if they could give us those kind of indications? Yeah.
When do I have to get out of bed? Because I'd quite like to have a couple of days in bed. I don't want to be missing opportunities that are coming my way, but I don't want to get up every single day.
No. Look, who does, Wendy? And luckily the lockdown has really put a stop to all of our careers.
I love it.
We have no reason to get up now.
I made Sarah get up with me early this morning to come walk my dog in the park to talk about the show tonight, and
that's why I feel like I was glad that I was sober this week, because if I actually had been drinking last night, there's no way in hell I would have been up at 8:30.
I know, being kind of outdoorsy with me.
Sarah, I've got coffee. And we walked the dog. I mean, I don't even know who I am.
I can never get a reading every time I go. Oh, is this to a professional reader?
Really? I mean, well, there you go. Maybe you can request a professional reading from one of us.
You can book in.
Yeah, you can get some good online ones. So I hear
you really can. Yeah.
So before we do our reading, just a couple of things that we like to go over, especially for our lovely new viewers. Sarah, do we read reversals?
Thanks for asking, Carly. No, we don't. No, we don't read reversals because we read typically Rider-Waite decks, although Carly does have a fancy new one that she will show you in a minute. But we don't, because there are 78 cards and we feel like you can get enough from those 78 cards. And reversals, which just means that they're upside down, I find it just overcomplicates things. You can get a perfectly, really clear, great reading just from standard way up.
Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome, Carly.
Yeah, you just like the missionary cards straight as they come.
Like it, well, sometimes
No,
missionary is
I
fine.
like it missionary. I like it like I've been married to the cards for 20 years and it's once a month.
And
a little bit dull, but quite familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
No surprises.
No, we don't want surprises.
No,
Not when we're reading the cards of the future. I'm going to show off my fancy new deck. I'm going to give a shout out to the lovely Elisa Kiria, who bought half of this deck with me. So thank you, my darling, if you're watching. So I was
half the deck.
I bought myself the other half.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you just had half the deck. I was like, that's a shitty reading.
It's a shit deck. So this is my deck.
Was it a present when this deck was purchased?
Yes, you were, Wendy, because I actually forgot that I'd bought it because I'd had so much wine. And then a deck showed up. I was like,
oh, for me?
A present for me? And then I remembered that, like, I'd paid for most of it. Wendy was reading my cards this week with this deck, and obviously I was jealous and have an Amazon Prime account and an app. So the deck I've got this week that we're reading with is this. Here's the front of the box. It's called the Wild Unknown Tarot, and it's by Kim Kranz. Anyway, it's really
it's really lovely.
Ones. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Like, the backs are lovely. Let me just show you, just in case you're interested. Here are the fronts. The devil. Oh, Sarah, maybe that's for your drinking.
But look, on fire. That's extreme.
But like they're kind of woodlandy, kind of it's the hipster tarot, isn't it? Really.
So they're an outdoorsy tarot.
I find those when I got those tarot cards. I was doing a gig in Alderley Edge, and there's a really sort of cool place where they do yoga and sell crystals and sell cards and all that kind of stuff. And I did the gig, was paid in cash, went straight into the shop, fucked all of my money in the shop.
Yeah.
Left the gig with nothing.
Brilliant. That's the way to gig.
Apart from a connection with the fucking universe, am I right? Pow!
Sisters.
Oh, I love it. Anything else we need to discuss before I draw the cards? Oh, yes. What is our reading?
Yes, because, I think we discussed this last week, but obviously for Wendy's benefit and anyone that wasn't watching, where were you? Missed out.
They were watching.
They were good. Don't be kidding. We basically, what we like to do is we like to use the cards as guidance. So we like to actually use them as a guidance tool, like not a career building thing, but basically some advice. So if you want something to ask the cards, like what's happening this week, what should I do in this area? That's how we read.
Yeah, and what we're going to do,
you,
Wendy. Thank you. I feel like we're becoming kind of like Fox News presenters. Like and back to Carly in the studio. Thank you, Sarah. We're both in
the same room.
We're just in the place with the nicest background, Wendy. They've got a very trendy dining room.
Have they?
Yeah, it's really.
I'm just in front of what's left of my booze.
Crack open more, Wendy. There's too much there.
What's left of my lockdown booze.
Oh, amazing! I love.
Oh yes.
Lockdown booze, baby.
I'm not touching the good stuff.
Oh, loving the newer format.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because obviously we're in separate boxes now.
Yeah, it's more sort of professional.
Maybe AD James wanted one of us to ourselves. It's quite. Look at her hands coming in now. It's like what?
What was that game show in the 80s where they all sat above each other and looked down on each other?
Yeah. Oh, hello, Sonam. Hello.
Hi, welcome. Tarot.
Welcome. Oh yes, damn it.
Tarot.
Tarot.
Nice
Tarot
to meet
to
you.
you there.
Right,
This reading, Wendy, is for your week.
Sorry.
So we're going to do a week ahead reading. We're not doing the cards in particular positions. We're just going to draw 3 cards and see what happens. And if you would like any clarifications, we can draw more cards. Yeah. You also have a deck there. You're welcome to draw your own. So, Wendy, how about if I shuffle the cards and you say stop?
Yeah. Cool. Stop.
Ooh.
Stop.
Okay, Wendy. Here is your reading. We're going to do it card by card, and we can have a little chat along the way. Okay, your first card. Don't freak out. Got the 10 of Swords.
Oh God!
We thought you would have a nice welcome to our positive comedy show where we show you a card with someone stabbed by 10 swords.
The eyes.
Yeah, this is quite a disgusting depiction of my deck. Kindly, Jim has put up the original Rider-Waite depiction down the bottom of the 10 of swords.
But it's
But
still
this
not very pleasant, is it?
I mean, it's a hard card to get anyway, considering what it. But that, I mean, through the eyes.
1 in 78
I
chance.
wouldn't say that personally.
So I mean, maybe you're going to go for acupuncture this week. Right
Well, I will do now.
Was acupuncture? Probably.
I'm going to surround myself with needles to make it okay.
So those of you watching who are here and you don't know the meanings of the 10 of swords, it's and where we were a little bit like, it's to do with painful endings, possibly betrayal. You can ask questions whenever you want.
Yeah, of course you can. Go ahead.
You can ask a question. Yeah, it's to do with painful endings, betrayals, sort of negativity. Kind of like, I don't want to like freak you out. Like, it's kind of the rock bottom card, isn't it?
But then it's good because it's the rock bottom card, is that it's like an end of a cycle. So like with tens anyway in tarot, it usually does connotate that it is an end of a cycle. So it means that all of this is actually coming to an end and then a new cycle will start. So although it looks a horrific card,
It is a horrific card.
It is. But I mean, you should embrace obviously the pain and the betrayal and the grief, really feel the feels, but it's good because then it means that you can move on to pastures new.
I love how you think you're making this better, Sarah, but in a way it just sounds sad.
But I wonder if it is. I don't know about the other comedians, but look where we are at the end. Now that lockdown's reopened, we're doing fucking tarot cards online. Maybe it's just the end of my stand-up career on this show.
Have you speaking of your stand-up comedy career, have you ever, this could be an interesting question pertaining to card, have you ever in your career had a time where you feel like you've hit rock bottom, like a particularly like traumatic gig where you were like, what the fuck, and then you've come back from it? Because this is the idea with the 10 of swords, you can come back from it. Rebirth.
Well, one of my earlier gigs, I remember doing a gig in King's Cross Station. And for those of you who are not in King's Cross Station, next to King's Cross, and for those of you who don't know the location of King's Cross, it's where all the trains come in from Scotland and they come into London and people stagger off the trains and they drink all day in the pubs. And there was a gig next door to King's Cross Station. So it was people who'd been drinking all day. And I had a really early gig and I didn't really have any. I've been doing it long enough now that when someone heckles, I can come back. Whereas I didn't really have anything in my toolbox. And this guy stood up during my gig and said, I'm on lithium and I shouldn't be mixing alcohol with my drugs.
Wow.
And I went, oh, ha, ha, ha. Does it make me any funnier? And he went, oh, yeah. And then he went, oh, ha, ha, laugh at the mad guy. And then the whole room just went dead. And I was kind of like, oh, and I thought, you know, I'd been given advice that if it wasn't going well, get off. So I was like, okay, well, that's my time. And I went to pick up the mic stand and it was one of those foldable, collapsible ones and all flopped in my hand. So I had to stand and wait for the compere to come back on, holding the mic with the stand, just like as the sort of piffling, pathetic applause just ran out. And I was like,
I hate that when it's like,
oh man, that's a
That was a bad one.
Yeah, that's definitely a 10.
Yeah,
I haven't had one like that. But I think now, if like the mic stand collapsed in my hand, I'd be like, not my job. I'd kick it off.
Yes,
whereas I was like, oh, like me.
You're like, oh God, I've just been a mentally ill man and the universe is sending me a flatted microphone stand. Oh.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, the universe sent it to you, Wendy. Maybe don't be nasty to the mentally ill.
Yeah, maybe that's a lesson for you to take.
I was actually reading a really interesting thing about the 10 of swords recently. Jim, can you put the picture up again of the 10 of swords just so I can point this out? Because I think Wendy might find it interesting.
Jimmy's our producer.
Jim's our producer.
He's not like under the table. It's like, hey.
Jim is the ghost. Here we go. Oh, sorry, it's covering your face, Wendy. But it's nice and big. So hey, there she is. I was reading this thing that I think you might find quite interesting to make it less scary. In the Rider-Waite deck, all the 4 elements are represented in the 10 of swords. So you've got the guy lying on the earth, then you've got the sort of the river behind him, And you've got fire represented by the sunrise or sunset, and then the air, which is the clouds and the sort of blackness at the top. So I was reading a really interesting article about the Ten of Swords because I don't have sex anymore.
I don't think you have sex. It's a great combination.
I just sit there fingering myself to articles about tarot cards.
Was it after you pulled the 10 of Swords?
Yeah, I was like, oh, it turns me on. Self-sabotage. Oh, I hate myself. The action, I'm sorry. But yeah, basically, the card, because it's got the 4 elements like perfectly lined in, like, you know, like the strata, like in a sort of geological sort of, you split the earth down the middle, and they're so perfectly balanced. And the guy is actually like lying there, but looking at the beauty of it being so perfect. And it's sort of, someone was writing a piece saying that in his final moments, when he thinks he's been stabbed in the back, when he's almost dead, he feels like he can't go on and everything's gone wrong. He finally sees the perfection and beauty in the world and the universe, and he realizes that even though this horrible thing has happened to him, he's right where he needs to be at that moment. So
it's positive.
How can anyone be right where they need to be at that moment with 10 swords in their back?
I don't know, but then I came and it was wonderful. Beautiful.
I have had a few sort of like end of days moments when my marriage collapsed. I was married before, and when that collapsed, I just thought that was all over. And I think actually that kickstarted my comedy career, because I didn't have any. I'd started doing comedy, but I wasn't earning, and then my ex-husband wasn't earning much money, so I had to get out and gig and pull the money in because I had 2 small children on my own. So I think that end of days meant that I just had to roll my sleeves up and crack on, rather than sit and go, oh, I've got no money, what shall I do? I was like, people need school shoes and they need fed. Get your arse out there and gig. So that might have been, that might have been one of those things. Then.
No, I think that sounds like a perfect sort of end of the cycle, start of the cycle. Yeah. Look at us being professional. Shall we show you your next card, Wendy?
Yeah. No, I'm all right.
Fine. Let's just end it on this shit show, shall we?
Bye. Good luck for the week.
Yeah, love that. Bye, Wendy. Thanks for being a great guest.
Hello, Sarah. What did you do?
And if she stops posting, call the police. Right, your next card, Wendy. We have got, your next card is Temperance. In this deck by this beautiful heron. We've got it. Beautiful. That was very fast. Click on the button there, Jim. Temperance. It's a beautiful heron, and traditionally it's depicted by an angel pouring water between 2 cups. So do you want to take this for those of you who don't know the meaning of the card Temperance?
Thank you, Carly. I'd love to.
You're welcome.
So Temperance. So as Carly explained, obviously you've got the angel who is balancing the water between the 2 cups. So this whole card is in regards to like balance and purpose and meaning and things like that. And if you sort of look at the card closely, you can see that there's 1 foot in the water and there's 1 foot out of the water. And that's mainly depicting the idea of it being sort of like part of your intuition and listening to your intuition. So I read this card of it being like there is a balance and there is a purpose, but it's not necessarily something practical that you will see straight away. And you might need to actually follow your intuition as well as thinking logically. So
it's really funny you say this, because recently, because I've not been doing that many gigs, I've been writing a lot. I've been journaling quite a lot. And I thought recently, I wonder if anyone would want these. And I've sold a couple of pieces to newspapers, which I would never have done before. And it's been like, when you're trying to get a gig, I mean, people who are not comics don't know this, but when you call up, you say, can I have a gig? And they're like, how long have you done? How many gigs have you done? Rather than just going, I've been going long enough to be still doing this shit. I'm obviously all right.
It's giving fucking gigs. We did fine.
Writing something and sending it in and then going, cool, I like it, we'll run it, here's what you're getting for it. I was like, what? It's been like one of the touch wood easiest sort of pathways, and that way then you kind of go that sort of balance between intuition and doing what I enjoy doing. That's a nice little balance. And also it's not that knocking on doors and struggling, it's just sort of
happened naturally.
Yeah. Are you quite a balanced, moderate person, would you say, Wendy, or are you a bit of a wild child?
I am so not moderate. I am either training for a marathon or drinking all the alcohol on the shelves, nothing in between.
That's my girl.
So now you're just pouring the alcohol between the 2 glasses, though. So that's good. So you balance it out.
Like the angel.
I'm a fucking
I'm an angel. Suck up, bitches.
That was my dreadful impression of Wendy. Wendy actually is very good at teaching people accents, I have to say.
Okay. I mean,
So funny.
What
What
do
accent?
one time for a cheeky accent?
We could have a little 3-minute
Yeah.
accent break.
Okay.
What
What do you
accent?
want to do? No, I'm not. I did a paper at university on
Oh,
accents
right.
and stuff.
Oh,
Hello, buns glazing. Um, um,
Such children.
so I'm quite good at like sort of hearing what you're not saying, right, you know, where you're getting it wrong. So with Carly the other day there, she told me she's never been able to do a Liverpudlian accent, and
True,
I
I never
explained
Who can?
that often with Liverpudlian, it's about, you know, if you run your tongue across the roof of your mouth, you've got the hard bit, and then carry on down the back, and there's a soft bit.
run your tongue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a theory that in Liverpool, there was so smoggy, people used to lower the soft bit of their palate so that they couldn't swallow the smog. So it gives you a kind of sort of tightens back of your throat.
It's the back of your throat.
Like that.
Keep your mouth kind of short like that. If anyone's watching in Liverpool, was so
Sorry.
Good when I was drunk, wasn't I, Wendy? Remember how good I was?
You were peak drunk.
You
That's
were
right.
amazing.
Peak drunk. You can do anything.
It's taken away your internal critic. If you take your internal critic away, you can do anything.
That's true. So,
But we're comedians, so we just criticise ourselves.
exactly.
Yeah, then put ourselves open for everyone.
So, give us a
to
quick Liverpudlian burst before I draw Wendy's final card.
What do you want me to say?
Say Taro, nice to meet you.
So really nice to meet you. There's certain words you can say.
Nice to meet you.
Tara, nice to meet you.
Oh.
This is no reflection of your teaching skills, Wendy. I am just
You
really
can
bad.
put Wendy to teach you two accents as demonstrated. So you can get on that.
Liverpudlian's hard. It's a hard one to do.
It's hard. Yeah.
Comedians also. We are comedians.
Thanks, Buns
Thanks,
Glazing.
Buns Glazing. Watching over on my Twitch, where I had like 3 people watching last week. So thanks, Buns Glazing, for boosting up those numbers. Unless it's just you, in which case we haven't boosted up the numbers. Oh, someone's actually asking us for a reading. Can you tell me about my
Finical condition.
Finical condition?
Oh, is that contagious? A finical
No,
condition.
she means financial, Sarah.
Financial.
Well, should we draw a quick card for this lady?
I tell you what, why don't we finish Wendy's reading,
Yes,
and
and
then
then
we'll draw the card for the finical situation.
Shall I draw one of my cards?
I'm just jesting.
She's jesting.
I'm, comedian.
Right, Wendy, your final card.
Final card.
It's a bit of a different depiction from usual. This is the 8 of Wands here. Usually see there's 8 wands kind of flying like arrows through the sky on the like that on the Rider-Waite deck.
Yeah.
So this is all to do with swiftness of action, change,
Yes,
motion.
It's a really let's get this
Woo,
going. Action,
yeah.
boom, yeah, woo. So this is you. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, carry on.
Yeah, so this is great because it's such an action-orientated card. This is just all this stuff just happening, and what's great about it is it's going to happen anyway. So don't try and resist it. Like there's something that's exciting and it's coming and it's going to happen, and you should just embrace it. Just don't overthink it. Just go with it.
I like the depiction in this one, Wendy, that I bought with you when I was wasted, of lightning striking. So lightning is going to strike and it's going to make something. Look at this beautiful rainbow that thank you, Jim, for putting that up. The lightning has made this, it's this beautiful rainbow. Lightning just struck. It couldn't be stopped. It can't be started. It just happens.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
I don't think I'd be able to read those cards. They're quite... But yeah, I get it. Once she's explained it, I understand it.
But I quite like it when you're doing a reading and you let someone look at the card and say, what does this mean to you? And those are quite good for that because sometimes people go, oh, I don't like that or like this or whatever.
Yeah,
So
I think the
sometimes
other ones are quite obvious, aren't they? The Rider-Waite ones. What does this mean to you? Well, it's a guy with fucking swords in his back. It's not really that ambiguous.
Oh, let me think.
Although in this deck, again, I was reading articles. In the Rider-Waite deck, as I was using a huge vibrator, I was reading this article about the Eight of Wands, and how it's the only card in the minor arcana. So basically, for those who don't know, there's 2 kind of types of cards, major and minor arcana, and the 8 of Wands is in the minor arcana, and it's the only card that doesn't have any people in it in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And so the cool thing about that is that it can also, some people interpret it as getting back to basics because there's no people in it, but also it's based off the Tarot de Marseille. So I'm such a fucking nerd. I'm never going to get laid again.
Where do you chat them up with this?
This is what I do first.
Yeah, I wouldn't open with this.
Based off of the Tarot de Marseille, and in the Tarot de Marseille, basically, if things are pointing or looking at the other cards, that's how you read it. There's like a lot of cross reading between cards, depending on what direction things are facing. So if this pops up and you're doing your own reading, it could be pointing towards something that's going to be some swift change. But in your case, Wendy, because it's come right at the end, it's pointing away. So this 10 of Swords situation, hopefully, there's going to be swift movement away from it. I would interpret it that way, because I hate the thought of getting stabbed in the head by a sword. Though.
Yes, moving away from the sword stabbing. It's something I never thought.
I have a question for you based on this card, Wendy, because obviously it can also be to do with like travel and sort of going abroad and stuff, and air travel. Have you gigged much abroad, Wendy?
Yeah, I've done quite a bit of gigging abroad. I'm trying to think, where's the oh God, the last place I gigged abroad was Turkey. I gigged in Turkey, and I've got this and it was a weird gig. It was a gig in a holiday resort for British people who were like, oh, we're on holiday in Turkey, but they didn't leave the resort, and they ate porridge and cornflakes in the morning, and it was quite an interesting. And I have this throwaway joke about a paedophile. It's just a stupid little joke. And at the end of this gig, at the end of this gig, I had to I did a meet and greet, and it was one of the weirdest things. It was all these people meeting a comedian they've never heard of. They won't know my name again. They'll be going through the photographs, going, "Who's that?" And it was like, we shook hands with some unknown fucking comedian that came over to entertain us. And later on, and then I had to sit at the bar and have a few drinks with them afterwards. And at the end, this girl came up to me and she went, "Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned the paedophile thing, because let me tell you what my dad did to me." And I was like, I'm not getting paid enough to listen to this. I was like, really? Happy holidays. It was the most bizarre thing ever.
Pina colada.
Mocktail is what I meant.
Yeah. So I had to stop her there and go, do you know, I'm here for the jokes.
Oh my word, that's some crazy shit.
That is crazy shit. Did we want to quickly draw a card for the lady that asked about
the lady's
financial situation? Yeah, I mean,
do you want me to draw one from my deck for her?
Yeah. So what we'll do is, I think, because obviously we mentioned this is okay.
She's writing a novel. Will it be successful?
Okay, cool.
Great.
Let's go for it. Let's see.
Okay, so this is the Star Child Tarot.
Okay.
Beautiful.
This is nice that Wendy's the one doing the reading.
I love it. It's very good as well.
I'm writing a novel. Will it be successful?
Well, I can pull it out and you can. Wow.
What is this card?
Chariot. It's the Chariot.
Oh,
yes. The answer.
The answer is yes.
It's a yes, baby girl. Success, moving forwards.
Public recognition, public victory. This is a great card. This is a definite
great card.
You're going to be so successful. So, your financial situation. You are.
Can the cast help me when I will find my Sheila?
Though.
Wendy, do you want to draw a card for Buns Blazing?
Buns Blazing.
Well, I'm not sure if Buns Blazing entirely serious about this. Okay.
He asked us out, and he's going, "Where am I going to find my Sheila?" Ask the cards. Jesus, Buns Blazing.
Right, let's see what we've got.
I pull it out and then you read it. I like that.
I love it. The Six of Cups. Oh, she's kind of wistful.
She is wistful. I mean, as I'm looking at that card, I would read that differently to how I would read it in the Rider-Waite deck.
Well, how would you read that? I quite like that though.
Well, because with that, if I'm just looking off the picture, obviously she's facing away. So I feel like from that card, your Sheila is in front of you, but she's just not seeing you as an option. And so if she's not seeing you as an option because she's focusing on these cups rather than you, she needs to turn around, maybe. No?
How would you read it on the other deck?
I'm not mixing the words because I'm sorry.
How would you read it on the other deck?
No, we're not therapists.
I'm just saying that the girl is in front of you. She doesn't see you as an option yet. So you've got to make sure that you put yourself forward so she's aware that you're interested in her, which makes me think you already have someone in mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna
stay single forever.
forever.
No, that's not what that
Buns Glazing.
No. I think this is someone that's already in your life that you've had a connection with.
Yes.
That's maybe you've disconnected or she's disconnected, but I think it's something there that needs to be revisited.
Yes.
Sixes are actually really good cards numerologically.
Oh, here she goes.
No. I was just masturbating and thinking about
She read a book.
Number six.
No, number 6 is good.
Oh,
Number
all
6
right.
is a good number.
So there you go, guns blazing.
You know, even numbers are stable. They're if you get an even number, it's generally better.
How is it?
But yeah, I think there's a lot of like sort of the 6 of cups. It's lots of sort of looking out and sort of being wistful, and there's choices to be made, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right, buns glazing. You'll get.
Yeah, this is a positive.
I think she's already in your life. I think just have a look around.
You know who it is.
So buns glazing, can you tune in next week and let us know how you get on with that? Because just ask someone out who you like, who you already know.
Yeah. What's he put?
Yeah.
So I haven't already met my soulmate. I just don't know it yet. Yes. So that's what we're saying. Yeah. So it could be that maybe you can't see her for her being your soulmate, or maybe that she can't see that you are her soulmate. There's something that's slightly missing there.
Maybe
I think it's one of those connections that you have with someone when all of a sudden you go, oh, I never thought about you like that before.
Maybe don't do hi, I'm buns glazing. Hi, I'm finance.
Yeah. Just give your real name, or rock in with buns glazing. So should we? Wendy's reading. Basically, Wendy, I think this is going to be all right. I think I feel like this week you could have some kind of painful ending, or like a betrayal, or something that you're not going to be looking forward to. But temperance often comes with a healing vibe as well as a 100%. State of moderation. It's to do with healing, spiritual meaning. Healing. I'm not even drunk. And then we've got the 8 of Wands saying that will happen quickly, and move away from that kind of negativity.
And embrace that, because it's going to happen really quickly. It's been very swiftly. It might feel like a bit stressful because you're like, oh my God, it's happening so quickly. It's really busy, really fast. You embrace it. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Though.
Cool.
It's happening.
Well done,
Can't
Wendy. Our final round, my darling.
Okay.
We're going to play a little. We're going to make this game competitive this week. Last week I felt that it could have done with something a bit more. This is a game.
People.
Who's going in the freezer? Now, for those who's in the freezer, I like that. So for those that don't know, Sarah enjoys doing binding witchcraft spells and putting the names of her enemies who need to be stopped in their tracks into her freezer to freeze their actions.
Yeah,
I've got a few names in the freezer. I do that as well.
Great.
You've got people in your freezer already. I love this, Wendy.
I've got name. My mum goes in the freezer occasionally when she's shouting at me. I'll put you in there until you've calmed down, and then I'll call you back.
That's smart, because sometimes you just need a bit of breathing space. I do have people temporarily in the freezer, but then I forget, or I can't find them, and they're frozen at the back, and you just think,
not in a Dennis Nielsen way, just in a little piece of paper.
Yeah. I'm not
actually.
I live alone. I've only got so much room in my
freezer. Freezer's really small, so
really
you just see the
small.
head. I think.
Well, maybe you're a
head
finger
or the
or a
hands.
toe.
Yeah.
And then toe.
Just defrost it when you're doing a spell.
Yeah. And then bind. So we
So what we're going to do, we're going to make it competitive, people. Sarah, I'm going to ask you who you'd like to put in the freezer. I'm going to ask you first, I think, just so that, because she's got a lot of latent anger problems. So Wendy can have a little think as well. And then I'm going to ask Wendy. And then we're going to ask our lovely friends watching us to choose a winner of who's actually going to get put in the freezer. They'll go in Sarah's freezer with the heads. And so choose wisely. Sarah, who's going in the freezer for you this week?
So this week, basically, this is actually on behalf of Carly, so I haven't even discussed this with her, but someone slid into her DMs, cheeky, last week, basically slagging off the show. So they hadn't seen the show, but they basically were saying, why are you pretending to know tarot? Why are you pretending to predict the future? Why don't you just come out and say that you're magicians doing a magic show? So obviously,
cold reading, he called it.
Yeah. Now the thing is, I don't know this person's name. They'll remain nameless.
I know it.
Although, but we'll keep it professional generally because I can't remember. Yeah. So because they were so rude about it, they hadn't watched the show. They hadn't embraced it. So I just want to say to this person, if you're watching the show and you're not enjoying it, if you just want to look down, if you just look down now, you just look down, you just turn it off. Just turn the machine. You don't have to watch. No one's forcing you. So if you don't agree with it, you don't like it, don't watch. And I'll
he was really patronising as well. I sent him some really strong, I'm a strong woman message, and he was having none of it.
Yeah, so I just want to put him in because he sought Carly out to be rude for no reason about something he hadn't watched.
Yeah, okay, I think that's a very valid reason.
So freezer.
So in the freezer. Massive cunt. Wendy, who would you like to put in the freezer? Who have we got in competition with the guy that didn't like our show?
So you've got one specific guy. I have got a sort of group of people who I wouldn't call trolls. I would call them
Assholes.
Whatabouterists. You know when you make a point and you think it's like, you're like, I'm so sad that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died this week and she's out such a strong way. Yeah, but what about I'm not, fuck off. You can't cover everyone in one statement. And I kind of feel like there's people that sit on their computers looking through things to go, oh, but what about, and just, or maybe just negativity. I just don't like that sort of people who are just scanning for shit to complain about.
For something to moan about, basically, aren't they?
Oh, thank you, funny mummy.
It does sound like a dick. Thank
He's
you.
a fucking dick.
Show is great.
So yes, I don't like these whatabouterists. They're the
do you know what I mean? What about
Black lives matter? All lives matter. What about all lives?
Saying that all lives don't matter, that you've just missed the point.
Yeah. What about happy International Women's Day? What about International Men's Day? Oh, shut up.
You have steak and
that sort of
Sake, men.
What more do they want than steaks and blowjobs? So our lovely viewers watching, we're going to give you a minute or so to decide if you would like Sarah's. Okay, this is stressing me out, Sarah. If you would like,
Why is it stressing you out?
I don't know.
Do you want me to do it?
No, it was a dude.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It's a bit, it was stressing me.
So that triggers you.
It really triggered me.
That's weird.
Maybe something happened to me years ago.
During countdown.
If you think that the guy who didn't like the show Sarah nominated should go in the freezer, please type Sarah. If you think whatabouterists and the All Lives Matter crew should go in the freezer, please type Wendy. We'll give you a couple of minutes now. While that's happening, Wendy, is there anything you want to plug?
I've got an article out in the Independent about my daughter leaving home that was published today, so you can find that on iNews. It's on my. I've got a link on my Twitter. You can do that. But what I was thinking about was, seeing as I've got my cards here, would you ladies like me to pick a card for you for the next day? Yeah. Who wants to go first?
No one ever reads for us apart from
No, I know. We read for each other occasionally when we're really drunk, and then I can't remember.
I can never remember.
But yeah, I mean, do you want to do Carly first or me first?
You choose.
Go on, Sarah, you go first.
Okay, me first, please. Thank you.
Oh, jumping card.
Yes, this is the jumping card.
Six of crystals.
What's a crystal?
What's 6 of crystals?
6 of crystals. I'll get it for you now.
Is that like equivalent to
Love that the votes are coming in.
I think it
in.
This is it's a state of balance and abundance in your life. You recognize the value of your relationships, spirituality, and the mutual benefit of loving support of others. The meanings are new opportunities, career, philanthropy, generosity, prosperity, advancements, growth, and abundance.
That's pretty good for the week ahead, then, isn't it?
The week ahead. She's got a good week ahead.
I'm quite worried about
That's not bad for a Sunday.
Yeah, I would say. Thank you, Wendy.
Oh God, what's mine going to be? Okay, Wendy.
Look at me, willing to pull the 10 of swords.
Be the fucking tower. Okay, stop.
The 2 of swords.
Oh,
that's not as bad as it could be.
Decisions to be made, isn't it?
Yeah, that's and you're not seeing something that maybe is right in front of you.
There's something you're missing in the 2 of swords. It's a crossroads. Self-doubt. You need to have a sense of balance between sort of 2 or more factors, and it's time to acknowledge you've got a decision to make, Carly. What is it?
Yeah, what decision have you got to make?
I don't know, just whether to carry on or not.
We're definitely carrying on.
But the point of this card is that once you've made the decision, either one will be right.
Yes,
and you'll fly. Do you know what I mean?
Not to carry on, it's still the right.
That is great.
There's no wrong decision with this one. It's a crossroads. It's not a dead end.
I think I'm going to have to think about this and report back to you next Sunday at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And let you know how we got on with that. That's a great idea. So the votes are in, by the way, for who's getting put in the freezer. And this week's winner is Sarah, with that man who didn't like the show, voted for by people who like the show.
Yeah, he's in. He's goner. He's a goner.
He's dead now.
God, if anything happens to him, this is going to take a sharp, swift change to a fun tarot card show.
Well, we just keep it between the circle of trust. We don't need to tell everyone. Just us and the 650 viewers.
He doesn't watch the show anyway.
Yes.
So
this silly magic that we do.
Silly magic.
Silly magic.
Do they know? Little do they know.
It has been magical, hasn't it, lady?
I've enjoyed it.
We're going to have to wrap up the show, sadly, because we've all got places. I've got to go
work.
Of
our time.
Comes into our time together. But yes, please, before we go, a couple of little swift things. Please do follow Wendy on all her social media. It has been scrolling across the bottom throughout the show. And for that matter, follow Sarah and I on ours. Wendy, where can they find you? What's your Instagram handle?
It's Wendy_Wason on Instagram and on Twitter, Wendy_Wason. Don't follow Wendy Wason. That's not me. She's a different Wendy. Yeah. She's a real estate agent in San Francisco. It's quite grumpy.
_ unless you're in my house, in which case Wendy Wason. Sarah, what about you?
So I'm just at Sarah Isles Comedy on Instagram or at Sarah Isles 82 on Twitter.
Beautiful. And I'm at Carly Small on everything because no one else has my name. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure. I was going to say, there's no pun for tarot or goodbye.
Tarot, goodbye. No, we need to work.
No, we need to work.
Or any suggestions? Let us know. Slide into our DM.
What about tarot for now? Tarot for now.
Tarot for now.
Tarot for now.
She's a fucking comedian. Hire Wendy Wason.
And then us.
Tarot for now. Next week, we are going to be joined by Brennan Reese. Sunday at 7 o'clock every single week, streaming across Twitch, YouTube,
all
Facebook,
of them.
All
You're
places.
Watching on it, so you know where.
You fucking know where to find us.
You'll find us.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. Tarot for now.
Tarot for now.
Thanks for watching Tarot Nice to Meet You, which is produced by Comedy Hotspot. See you next Sunday at 7 p.m.